Oke, kita mulai hari ini session kita yang pertama. Jadi selamat malam semuanya sudah hadir di sini. Jadi title is Roman Compass for Catholic Millennials. But we discuss tonight itu what the meaning of sex, beauty, and love. Begitu saya akan menggunakan philosophical and theological perspective to analyze these problems. Tapi jangan berpikir bahwa ini suatu hal yang berat seperti itu. That's the things that we can take it lightly, karena saya juga akan mulai dengan suatu hal yang ringan saja dulu begitu. Jadi apa persoalan yang kita hadapi saat ini sebetulnya bagi young Catholic men and women, begitu, yang baik yang sudah baru menikah begitu, atau singles or in the dating process begitu ya. So what's really the problems that we start with that? Yang mungkin secara sederhana, in some ways, for OMK group who joined my retreat last May, I already mentioned it briefly, tapi I will do some repetitions. The problems, that I call it problem Nala and Simba. This is from the story that you all familiar. I presume that the story of Lion King. Yeah. Why there's a problem with Nala and Simba? So let's say that here things that see that what happened here. I think that okay. The reason is I think that the animation version is better showing this, because here in the animation version you can see that the animation is portrayed clearly how that I think the face of Nala is really, I think, showing some sexual beauty, try to attract Simba. So dalam versi yang terbaru itu kurang begitu bagus sebetulnya, karena penggambaran tadi I could not really show it clearly, but in the animation version you can see this, how that the animator showed this picture to show that she used her sexual power. That's the point, is that women, I think that if she can sense that her man is just simply, I think, not growing up, span where the time, they tend to separate him from, I think, that their flocks. That's why the disaster for Timon and Pumbaa. Oh, here there's an interesting dynamic. Why I think that Nala tried to, I think, pull Simba away, and in some ways that so that you need to grow up here. I think that's the point. That's why that the real issue is say that you should go back and become a king. But here, all the problem is here, I think, what I call is, I think, the Peter Pan syndrome. Peter Pan syndrome, I think, that although the man is already, I think, that 20 years old or so, but 30s, but I think that deep inside, he's still a little boy. They could not really growing up. So that's become the problem in relationships. But of course, Peter Pan syndromes is not only happen for the man, but also happen for women. So I think that many women become little girls and transfer to their relationships. Jadi itu yang menjadi masalah sebetulnya. I think that we need to understand that before I think that we really see all the how to address this. This is the problem. I think that in the dynamic of relationships, most of the time, I think that we stuck in our things that our past as a little boy, little girl. Then I think that a challenge to grown up is a time to be a man and to be women, and we cannot pass the threshold. Yeah? Okay, ini akibatnya apa? Konsekuensinya bagaimana? I think in relationships. Okay. So now this time we talk about, I think that, okay, here I think that in this scene, you see the things that from Simba. This is with Rafiki.
Squash banana, come on, will you cut it out? Can't cut it out. It'll go right back. Creepy little monkey. Will you stop following me? Who are you? The question is, who are you? I thought I knew. Now I'm not so sure. Well, I know who you are. Shh, come here. It's a secret. Enough already. What is that supposed to mean, anyway? It means you're a baboon. And I'm not. I think you're a little confused. Wrong. I'm not the one who's confused. I'll show him to you. You follow old Rafiki. He knows the way. Come on. Don't dog. Hurry up! Hey, whoa, wait. Come on. Would you slow down? Stop!
Okay, here I think that the sacrament of initiations, in the sense I think that, okay, in the Catholic Church, of course, sacrament confirmation is important, I think that for us, I think, to show that you are grown up, adult believers. But I think in the process of, I think, a psychological process, there's a challenge also for each of us, I think, that we need to go to, to underworlds, that to counter the shadow of us. And I think they really try to, grown up here, become a man and become a woman. So here, I think in this case, I think Rafiki, it has led him, to encounter the shadow and then to see, that his figure of his father, through the lake. Dalam artian begini, man, I think that over time, overshadowed by his father, or woman overshadowed by his mother. The time, I think you need to be grown up, and I think it's far away from the shadow of your father and your mother. That's, I think, a challenge for us to become our man or our own. Things that sometimes the death of parents, they can, tragic, but also things that help also the persons, to grown up, to become, a man he's supposed to be, or woman, she's supposed to be. Okay, then that's the last part from Lion King. So let's go things that, okay, what relationship now with sexual powers? Things that the culture today is full with the things that of sexual powers, especially the hookup culture, begitu. Itu yang jadi masalah karena most of them really not growing up. They still have Peter Pan syndrome, so either a little girl or little boy. So when they're things that growing up in the college years, atau kemudian sudah bekerja pun, so they don't really know how to play the role. So what is the meaning of sexual powers? Because I think that sexual powers means I think that our bodies and hearts that work together. Jadi bukan hanya sexual pleasure with body, tapi this affect your emotion, your heart. That's mereka berpikir bahwa I can have sex with many men and women, begitu, multiple partner without affect my psyche. But that's wrong, because your body and your heart is connected. Because we are designed not only biological, but also emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. Okay? And sexual power has a purpose, is a procreation. And it's require marital life and family life. And that's why unitive structure is a spousal bond. That's things that we cannot really come to this if we don't really things that growing up to that point. That's why hookup culture is very prevalent in society today, especially in Northern America. Di Indonesia mungkin belum sampai separah ini, tapi juga sudah ada kecenderungan ke sana sebetulnya. Okay, then about sexual differences, that's people also. Okay, Edith Stein thinks that a Carmelite nun, that psychologist philosopher, dia mengatakan ada perbedaan yang jelas antara laki-laki dan perempuan. So men thinks that prone to abstraction, some women try to focus more on concrete. Men do not mind for something impersonal, and women things that atone more some things that more relationships. That's the things that women turn to. Actually, man, I think less personal, and then that man to be more specialized, and women said to be generalists and multitaskers. This is also involved in some way, I think, in the professions that sometimes involve things that certain trait begitu ya. For example, things that lawyering begitu ya. That's things that female lawyer and male lawyer tend to approach the issue in different ways because from their background gitu ya. And that's the things that we need to understand. Okay, then this the map of sexual love. That's the things that this is important karena banyak orang yang confused tentang ini gitu ya. In the process of dating atau mulai pendekatan begitu atau baru mulai pacaran, that they simply think that this already love begitu. Ini sudah cinta begitu ya. Tapi yang terjadi sebenarnya itu proses yang enchant yang sebelah kanan begitu ya. That's not part of really love, begitu. Enchantment. Nah, dunia milik berdua. I really want things that to come together, tidak mau berpisah lagi dan sebagainya seperti itu. But this is really enchantment. Atau duduk bersama memandang matahari terbenam dan misalnya tidak ingin semua ini berakhir. That's enchantment. That's not really love. Because I think that's very different. Of course, I think that in the left, map, we say that charity, erotic charity, and romantic love. For those of you who join my sessions on Deus Caritas Es, we talk about different type of love. Here, I think that the romantic love, here, I think that what we meant, that before there's, two stages before that. So charity, erotic charity, and romantic love. Different is, this left side involves the will, not only about passion, because it's only about passion. Okay, ini saya lebih jelas. Enchantments, I think that infatuations only, I think that they cannot get enough of each other. They want to be together. Okay, that's I think that common ketika mau mulai pacaran, mulai pendekatan segala macam seperti itu. But after that, I think that I think ketika baru mulai pacaran dan that's I think that you become serious is more about charity. I use the term charity here. Things that the sense that you realize that I think that you need to make a personal commitment. But the problem is many people just tend to stop at enchantment. They never move to the charity sense that I need to make personal commitment here. So I need to really commit here. I think that there's something that bukan main-main lagi. There's something not really means that this is serious. And then, of course, the thing that is erotic charity. Of course, I think there's things that correspond to sex, and this is in marital life. And after that, the highest level is the romantic love. Things that that's things that because you have shared the romance, I think together, there's things that you want to be together, not separable anymore. But this is a matter of the will. Things that which is different from the first enchantment tadi. Itu hanya berdasarkan passion, ya. Okay. So then sexual beauty. Right? There's 2 points, outside the game or inside the game. Yang jadi masalah itu adalah ketika baru mulai pendekatan ataupun pacaran segala macam ketika atau belum ketika masih mencari ketika itu, that we tend to say that whoever wins her is a lucky man, gitu ya. Or I'll say that inside me, I'll be a lucky man to have her. So vice versa. This juga pada female ya. Whoever wins him is a lucky woman, and I'll be a lucky woman to have him. Gitu. So that's a problem because if you stop like this, I think that because this more, I think usually attractions is why over time that it hard people to define sexiness. What is sexy mean? We tend to see only similar physical size, physical beauty. That's become a problem when you get attractive or you try to pick your partner. But sometimes we don't realize that sexual beauty of women, which is then her humanity, is her womanliness and personality. And for the man, his maturity and manliness and personality. And banyak laki-laki juga tidak tahu ini, jadi menjadi masalah. And also for the women, what the women's want or what the men's want. For the man, why I explain the Simba and others, because most of the time, I think that women try to find more mature men. Thinks that man who can be responsible. That's why I think Nala always try to confront Simba to be grown up man, to grown up tiger in this case. Yeah, man oftentimes I think just simply become a boy. He never grown up, and that's why jadi kalau misalnya tidak berhasil atau mendapatkan pasangan atau apa begitu tidak laku, that's the thing because part of you never growing up. I think that because women tend to find, I think that woman a man who is more mature. Him that if you never growing up, you still become Peter Pan, then of course you never succeed in pursuing that women, your dreams. So the sexual beauty of man is manliness and personality, and for women, humanity. So that sometimes they don't realize that a man that looking for women also can be a rational being because women tend to use more emotions. But here means that you're being rational being, not only emotional beings. Because women tend to succumb with their emotions, not also use the rationals. Okay, I hope it's okay here karena seems that they say that internet connections or hope is still fine. Okay, let's continue.
It's okay, Komo.
Yeah. All right. So now let's see about sexual purity. All right, this is important. If I talk about sexual purity, ini abstrak konsep, agak susah. But let begin with analogy like this. This is about the human souls, okay? Our souls. Human soul is a castle, that one image, okay? But I think this is more tuned to women because castle and gardens as the primary intuition for a woman. For man is secondary intuition because women is a castle really. Why there's a castle? Because they tend to, that keep that in the castle to guard themselves, to guard herself here. Yeah? Man is more type of the conqueror. Jadi man itu the orang yang ingin menguasai this castle, to conquer and to occupy the castles. So this is in dynamic in relationships. The problem is like this. In proses pendekatan segala macam, woman of course sering dikatakan jual mahal. It's right because that's her nature. She tried to protect her castle. Things that she tried to guard that. And of course, men have to pursue it further. Women like to be pursued. Also, that's why men also have to try to pursue that, I think, further. I think they try to conquer that castles. It can be translated to many different things. I think that, so even as women say, that, no, just leave me alone. So don't give up. You really want to pursue her. You need to be persistent. So that's, men oftentimes do not realize that. I think that this give up easily begitu, and that's but of course that women want to, to be pursued like that, and in many different things also, like small things, even invitation, kind of like that. Jadi kalau misalnya you need to invite, that woman maybe that's to a party, or even that's to this OMK romance series, or either as a participant to be speaker, you need to try to pursue her. If she say no once, then don't give up. I think just, so not but because women complicated, but that's their nature like that. Jadi kalau cuma satu pesan WA saja dia sudah bilang okay, sudah stop. No, I think that you should not give up. That's I think that sometimes men do not understand that. But the problem with women also thinks that oftentimes after she opened the gate and let the man come in, that's often that the problem for women. That's why the sexual purity. After you enter into relationships, that you need to be keep guarding your castles. Karena jadi masalah sering adalah pacaran sudah dikejar cukup lama, akhirnya in the end that she that open the castles, but men, because of pursuer, they want to keep further. That's why it become a problem in the time of boundary relationships. Oftentimes, women let her guard off. Itu jadi masalah. But I think as a woman, you keep to say no if the man want to advance into sexual relationship like that. Keep guarding your castle because the nature of men want to conquer. But women oftentimes, after they open the gate, they let it open widely and often off guard. As a woman, you need to be strong and keep guarding your castles. Okay. So what happened with man? Man is the human soul, is got a rider, a horse, and a lion. Okay. This is a primary intuition of man because he's a conqueror. So that as a rider, a horse, and a lion. Okay. This primary intuition for man. It's not for women. Okay? But there are three scenarios here. This is related with sexual purity. Yang pertama itu adalah a man dengan apa? That's like wildcat instead of lions yang tidak bisa dikontrol seperti itu, dan shaggy, ass ini sebagai that's keledai dungu begitu. That here he just want to play. I want to pursue my happiness because this is okay. I could not really control my wildcat. Ya seperti itulah, seperti kucing liar yang tidak terkontrol seperti itu. That's his sexual urge begitu ya. That's problem with man sometimes. But there's also a second scenario. There's a things that a mule and a starving leopard. Here he tried to be good to control his sexual appetite. Tapi because his starving leopard here oftentimes is unleashed dan something tidak bisa dikontrol. Of course, I think the perfect type here, a man with knight armor, white stallions, and a great lion. Here, I think that a man in command, he know that, but his sexuality, his sexual urge, but he can control it. And I think that's why I think in relationship also, I think that he can control that when he deal with his spouse, with his partner, begitu. Jadi bukan semata-mata, I want to pursue happiness, want to play with that. Otherwise, you just in the first level, being I think that with a wild cat, seperti itu. But here I think that it's a knight armor who can control the lion with his horse, really. So here I think that related with sexual purity. Okay, what are the elements that we need to do? This has happened with the men and women, that you need, proper decorums and modesty and temperance and sweet disciplines. Karena decorums itu, mungkin harus tanya Bang Jo, ini pertanyaan bahasa Indonesianya apa? Decorum ini, but I think the proper manner you deal with your spouse, begitu. And modesty, modesty in dressings and other things that important. We often tend not to think anymore that mencari yang seksi begitu instead of yang modest. So I think that you need to change your paradigm, also looking at your spouse atau melihat the beauty in your spouse is something that he dressed modestly, she dressed modestly. Temperance tentu bisa self-control and sweet discipline. Karena untuk yang kembali ke sini tadi, you need your discipline here. And here also you need your disciplines to keep your castles even after sudah pacaran. Seperti saya bilang, the problem with women is they forget to control their castle after they get into relationships. But you need the discipline to control that. Right? Okay, now something is missing about this all God. I think where's the transcendent here? Human sexual laws in their imperfections, because as I said before, there's elements, there's intellect, passions, and desire. Oftentimes that semuanya hanya bermain pada desire saja, sexual desire, sexual urge begitu. But there's also intellect, and also there's a will, passion here. Ibaratnya tuh magnet and the three iron rings. Kalau yang satu lepak atau kemana itu, that's not balance anymore. So that need to stick together. Because if one is pulling away, that's I think that imbalance between the God is a magnet, but if the one iron ring is I think just trying to not attach properly here, that's not really really a good attachment here. Okay, and that's why we need to attach to some things that become as a glue that's this God. Dan lack of supernatural purpose. Persoalan-persoalan yang kita tadi jelaskan, mulai dari immaturity segala macam itu, orang berpikir itu that's a disease that can be cured. But oftentimes I think that mortal love also wants immortal love, that we need a supernatural purpose. That's why I think that we need to focus on God in the midst of all of this. I think that without God, I think that is always falling apart, because this is not simply a disease. That's all the problems that be cured. Thomas Aquinas says that I think that there's 4 lessons for Catholic singles and also for Catholic couples. reference to Eucharist, devosi kepada Ekaristi, you need to defend your Catholic faith, begitu. Kalau kamu tidak bisa mempertahankan your Catholic faith, how that you can defend your sexual purity in some ways, yeah? That you need to believe in what you believe first, extent in some way, or how you can control your self-discipline if you don't really have the faith first. Here are things that, and then love the virtue of chastity. Tadi kita bicara sexual purity segala macam, and kita learn how to forgive. That's important. What does it mean learn how to forgive? This is, I think, quite, important to discuss. Okay, let me do briefly here. There's so-called family theory. Ini oleh Ronald Richardson yang mengatakan salah satunya. I think that di mana kita tumbuh besar satu keluarga itu mempengaruhi psikologi kita dan juga akhirnya transfer dalam hubungan. Kayak mencari pacar dan kemudian berpacaran, hubungan perkawinan semuanya berpengaruh how our upbringing, begitu ya. If you have unresolved emotional attachment, dalam artian you have emotional attachment to your upbringings, it's unresolved, it can affect your relationship dalam pacaran maupun hubungan perkawinan. Unresolved is for some about compliance, about rebelliousness, about power struggles, about sometimes distancing. Can be many different things that unresolved emotional attachment to our parents. For example, I think that a woman who growing up, I think that in the family that a broken family that I said that the dad problems, and she always feel that her dad never loved her because her dad, I think, do many different things that create emotional scar for her. So when she enter into relationship, itu akan berpengaruh. Dalam artian, she always have expectations for her spouse, not to be like her dad. She want to make sure that she really love her, and I think that, or she may have some doubt about that, right? So that's example only. Of course, there's many different mechanisms. I think that emotional pursuers and distancers, and there's a communications mode also. Translation is a fight, begitu, atau the silent treatment atau somatization or acting out. This all thing related. Jadi di sini dalam artian pada masa-masa ketika kalian masih berpacaran atau masih single, one thing I recommend you is try to resolve your emotional attachment. Either you can see the counselor or see the priest, have spiritual directions, because that's really affect your relationship. Begitu, karena akan berpengaruh pada hubungan kalian satu sama lain. Yang ideal tentu ketika kalian belum mempunyai pacar. Ketika kalian tahu apa masalah ini semua. Karena kalau ini tidak selesai, that akan berimbas pada hubungan kalian nantinya. So that's why St. Thomas Aquinas said that you learn how to forgive in the sense that you need to resolve your personal attachments, that means that in the past. Itu bisa banyak macam personal attachment. Itu ya, kalau misalnya a woman that, this is something that someone I knew, she grew up in an alcoholic family. I think that her father is an alcoholic, her dad is an alcoholic, gitu. So she always has a guilty feeling bahwa she cannot protect her mother. As a little girl, she cannot protect her mom because her dad, is abusive and some way alcoholic. It's growing up. That's the things that affecting her, especially in a relationship like that. And sometimes she may not realize that. So, this case, she should resolve her personal, emotional attachment first when she enter into serious relationship, because it will affect. So I think that, in a nutshell, of course, I think this is, some way we can say this is a disease. But of course, I think we can use psychology, something to help a bit. But in the end, that you need something that transcendence to help you, in the sense you cannot help this without God. It's only God who can help you to solve these problems. Okay, I will stop here, and I think that we can go back to that Q&A. Maybe that's a bit better.
Okay, thank you so much, Romo, for the discussion, for the material. And now we're gonna take a 5-minute break before going to the discussion. So 8:30 or in 5 minutes, 10:30 in Indonesia, 10:30 a.m. or 8:30 p.m. here. We're gonna reconvene and be prepared with your questions karena banyak sekali yang udah didiscuss ini ya, and it's very interesting. So yeah, let's get back in 5 minutes.